Welcome to the world of Jones Knows. Do you want to learn how to do a wrought iron staircase in your own home? Well, you're not going to want to miss Stairs 101, where I break down each aspect of a staircase, from post to handrails to wrought iron balusters, all in my new series where I teach you how to do your staircase railing. Today on Jones Knows.
It's so beautiful, you and me, we meant to be.
Hi, if you're new to the channel, my name is Tim. I'm a stairing and floor contractor. In our videos you'll see me, my two sons, and this guy here, Max. Join us as we dive deep into the world of staircase railings. This is episode number 1, where we are going to focus on posts. Each video is going to be a different aspect, from posts to handrails to iron balusters, and we might even throw some stringers in at the end. But today we're going to show you how to do posts. You can't start a staircase until you have your post in. That's your foundation. That's what everything connects to, and that's what we build off of. But first, what's up? I don't know. You tell them. Don't tell me. Tell them. What is it? Tell me. Are you having a bad hair day? Yeah? Oh my goodness. Speak up. You want more? Yeah? They can't hear you at home. That's what I'm talking about. Come over here. Hey. Mister. Camera's over here. Oh yeah. He always has a lot to say. He's being kind of shy today. Alright. I'm sorry, but it's time to get to work. So excuse the horrible drawing. This is going to be a diagram of the lower level of the job site we're working on. This is going to be we're going to call this our starter post, even though it's a regular post. Sometimes starter posts are a little bit larger and more significant, but that's not the case here. So this staircase is made up of 4 posts today. The homeowner originally, this staircase was set to be 8 posts. Therefore I had posts where all the railing terminated into walls were going to be posts also, but they took that out and we went with wall plates. So instead of a post where this wall is here, we have a wall plate. So our second post, this is our ceiling up here above our handrail. Normally this handrail here above steps is always going to be at 37 inches off the front of the step. We'll talk about this again in the video. And then on landings, typically we're at 42 inches, which would be up in this area, but we have a ceiling right here. So if I tried to put the post where I would normally put it, where I would have a 30-inch post. So I stopped this step back. This is how it was with the old railing as well. So we stopped the step short, and then we run our handrail straight off of that, terminating into the wall with our wall plate. Then we move on, so keep this in mind, this is our landing. We go up to the second level here. This is the landing now, again, and then this is our third post. This takes us up the staircase. This is the second floor up here. So we have a post on the landing. That's post number 3, and our final post is at the top of the stairs. This post here connects the staircase to the second floor, and it's on a turn. This is a 90-degree angle here. This goes down the hall. It's about a 3-foot run, which also terminates into a wall plate. This post here sits above a corner, so it has to straddle the hallway stringer, this stringer, and we have a section that comes down the stringer. We're doing 60-10 profile handrail. We're doing 4000 series posts, which are a modern post. And I'm going to show you a little trick to spruce up those modern posts and give them a little more flair. It's a money-saving tip that will really make a big difference. It'll set your modern post apart from everyone else's. Let's jump in to me on the job site. So the first step in setting the post is to determine the placement, where it's going to be at on the staircase. And we want it to sit flush to the floor. So therefore, if there is a piece of stringer sticking up, we're going to want to cut that flush so that our post can rest, the bottom of our post can rest flush on the floor. And then of course, obviously, some of it's going to overhang on your stringers, but we want the bottom of it to rest on the subfloor or on the flooring that you have. What I usually do is cut a sample of the bottom of the post. Make sure you have enough excess. Don't cut a post off if you need the whole thing. But now we're going to bring it up, set it on the staircase. Remember that this is always going to center above where your balusters are going to go. If this post is going to connect to, like on a turn, this has to be centered on the corner, not just centered for one run, but centered for both. In our case here, this is going to be centered above the hallway, and this side is going to be centered above the stringer on the stairs, where our balusters are going to go on the stairs, and then this part of this block is going to be centered over the stringer where our balusters are going to go on the hallway. So we're centered over our run here, and we're centered over our run here. So we'll cut there and there. So with our oscillating saw, we just make our cuts. That's how our block will sit. The bottom of the post, half and half. So when you're calculating the height to your handrails, landings, on landings, and balconies and platforms, hallways and stuff like that, is always going to be 42. On the staircase itself, you want to be between 36 and 37. Of course, that's going to vary depending on location and local building codes, counties and states. But for the most part, 36 and 37 on the staircase, and 42 in hallways. Now, when you're figuring that, obviously the hallway is pretty straightforward. It's 42 from the top of the floor to the top of the handrail, not the bottom of the handrail, not the middle, but the top of the handrail. And on the steps, this is where it gets a little more confusing. If we're doing 37, it is from the front of the step, from the very front of the step to the top of the handrail. So this varies a lot. If you were to measure from back here, or even in the middle, that's going to be a different number than what you're going to get in the front. So it has to be from the front of the step. On my last job we just did, I ordered some modern posts. Basically they're just the 4000 profile with a line around them near the top. It gives it just a little bit of extra pizzazz, a little extra style to them. So I paid double the price I pay normally for my post. So I said to myself, after looking at the ones that I received, that this is just a matter of routering a line in it. Got the right size router bit. I've made a guide out of a sleeve that comes with the post normally, or you could just do it by nailing wood around it, but this sleeve works really good, and now we're just going to use that to guide the router. So here is my post with nothing on it. Here is my sleeve. I just put a screw into it. The router's gonna line up where that mark is, and set my groove around it, and I'll just follow this all the way around to put a continuous groove. When I put the groove, it'll be about 1.5 inches from the top. So if I didn't have the sleeve to use as a router guide, what I would have used would just be a guide that I would just make, and I would just attach that and let the router run around that to get that groove. You can't eye it, you have to have something, or that router, to run around to keep it exact. Just that little bit of design makes all the difference. So when we're doing our post, this is our trickiest one because it has to be to height, and then it also has to be cut around the stringer, kind of straddle the stringer that goes down, and then centered above the hallway stringer. 1 inch is what's going to be showing on the hallway. And this 1 inch is what's going to be hanging over the front edge of the staircase and going down the stringer. What I like to do is use the chop saw to cut it back to 1 inch on both sides, and now I'll set my table saw fence at 1 inch, and what we're going to do is then run it through the saw and do a 1 inch section till we get to there on both sides. So we'll actually be cutting out this whole block here. This is the first step. By setting our fence at 1 inch, we'll run that post through, and it'll leave us an inch section. So the table saw blade is not tall enough to cut all the way through, so it's necessary to cut it once, and once you get done with your cut, flip it over and then cut through again on the other side until you get your cut complete. I must not have cut through in here. Yeah. Right? That's weird. I can't see because of the sawdust in there where it didn't cut through all the way. Yeah. If we get the reciprocating saw. And a lot of times if I cut through just enough, I can do it with just the chop saw and the table saw, with flipping it on both sides, and this block will come out. But there's probably something in here where it's holding on, so we'll get a reciprocating saw and cut out the rest. Yeah, that'll fly. We're gonna cut that all part out anyways. Alright. So that gives us... What's that? So now we just gotta cut the center of this out, and that'll straddle the stringer. So that'll go, we'll take out this center up to there, which will match this depth. Stringer is 1.5 inches wide, so we're always taking out 1.5 inches of the center section in order to straddle the stringer. First, because it only cut through on one side, let's reciprocate it straight down, then we'll oscillate out the middle. Shoot. This one needs to be, it hits the step at I think 6 or 6.5 inches. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Measure from the step to where I cut the thing out of the square out. And it's either going to be 6 or 6.5. A little oscillating to get the center part out, and we'll be all set. And that's what we got to work with. I like to use my Lixie mallet when I install this. I like to tap it into place. Also going to use some shims, and it's important to have a level. You want to make sure that you're perfectly level before you start to screw anything in. Remember, these posts are your foundation, so take your time and get it right. Next post is post number 2, and just like this post, we'll have to oscillate out the stringer in order for the post to sit over it. So when we notch this one this time, we're going to have 1 inch hanging over the side of the stringer. The rest of the post is going to be sitting over the step and on the stringer itself. So here's the first part on the chop saw. This is 38 from here to the line here. That gives us a little bit over 1 inch above the handrail, which we're going to set at 36.5, 37, depending on where it lands. And right now we're going to cut through. We'll cut through on this once to this side, then we'll flip it, and then we'll cut the other side. And then we'll put it on the table saw, which will cut 1 inch, and we'll cut this block out. There's other saws and methods that you can use to cut posts, but these are what work best for me. I like the chop saw because it cuts perfectly straight, and then when I switch to the table saw, I can set my fence, and I know I'm cutting perfectly straight. I've had people that work for me want to use reciprocating saws and skill saws, but over the years I found that these two saws in combination together work the best. And then once I do all my main cutting with those two saws, then I can use my reciprocating and my oscillating saw to get whatever's left. That's that. There's always something to clean up though on the inside. And that gives us our 1-inch piece. And then from here to the top, the rail is not going here, the rail's going in here. So this is 38 to this edge, like kept them all consistent. I chose to focus this video on the 2nd and 4th posts because these are the 2 posts that needed to be notched over the stringers, and stringers needed to be cut out. The 1st and 3rd posts are pretty straightforward. They're just a straight cut at the bottom, and then we attach it to the stringer. Of course, once you get all these screwed in and tightened, you're going to want to fill all your nail holes, caulk, and then do any painting before you put your rail up. This is Stair Railing 101. Thanks for joining us today. Hope you found this informative. I hope it was entertaining as well as educational. Don't miss the 2nd video in this series where we show you handrails and shoe rails and how we cut and install them. Thanks for joining us today. Be sure to check out some of our other videos as well. We do flooring as well as stairs, travel videos, and of course this guy over here. Yes, you. He's got a couple of funny cat videos as well. Take out that favorite flooring mount of yours, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos.